Well, ramp's empty, ready for delivery of Project 2000, RS Jamie's Max Power Project 2000. And this is my mate Jamie as well.
How's it going?
Local lad, delivered it for me. He's a good man. So he's had a few hours on the road today, ain't you, pal? Nice trailer. I want one of these, enclosed trailer. That's my next purchase, I think. Nice enclosed trailer. Yeah, I think I need to put some wood under the back there because it's kicking up a bit. Yeah, let's get it out. Morning. It's it's morning. Come in this morning and Lucifer 2 is not talking to me. Not impressed that there's another F2 in the unit and that it's a genuine GSE shell. Tried to have a conversation that you can't compare the two really. Do you know what I mean? This is my interpretation of an F2, which is what I want. So stop being a moody bollocks. Do you know what I mean? So it's hiding under cover at the minute. I'm sure she'll poke her face out later and have a chat with Project 2000, which we've got here on the ramp. So I guess you just seen a video actually of it arriving and being reversed in here last night. And the reason it was so bloody noisy is, exhaust hanging off. So, but yeah, I'm glad it arrived late yesterday because I only had a 5-minute viewing of it last night and it was too late to get it on the ramp really. I just pulled it in and I was knackered. But I'm a fanboy of this car. It's my mate Jamie's car now. RS Jamie off Instagram. She brought it, and she brought it off of Monkey London. Geezer is a YouTuber. I don't know what you call him. Well, anyway, he's a YouTuber. He does lots of car videos and that. What do you influencers? Is it? Well, Jamie's an influencer. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what you call them anyway. But Jamie's a genuine Ford enthusiast. So it's nice that Jamie has got this car because this car deserves to be owned by a Ford enthusiast. I was offered this car over the years on a few occasions for reasonable values as well, but I couldn't buy it, not for financial reasons. I couldn't buy it because back then I'd have turned the car a different colour and it's sacrilege, and I knew it was, and that's why I didn't buy it, you know. On many occasions I could have had it and I kept turning it down because I wouldn't have left it pink, and the car deserves to stay pink, you know. But times change, you know, and it is a car I don't know and I'd keep pink, you know. But I've got enough going on, so it's nice that Jamie's got it, you know, because Jamie is going to put her heart and soul into it and put it back, well, back to a good state of health, you know, and put her own twist on things. It will be still having a throwback to the Max Power days, you know, but with Jamie's twist. So yeah, I'm a fanboy of this car. I didn't want to look at it with rose tinted glasses last night and the fresh light of day today, and I'm not. So first views from underneath. The bodywork's seen better days. And that's why it's come here really, to go to my other friend Jay at JM Details, who done my cosy. Well, Jay's going to take on the bodywork of this. That's why it's here, because Jay's going Jay's going to take on the bodywork. And you've seen the paintwork on my Cozzy. A lot of you've seen it in person now, and you know how good he is at paint. So this is going back to fresh looking, bodywork wise. But whilst it's here, I'm going to have a look at, for Jamie, at the rest of it. Jamie's got plans to do lots of different things to it. But it was built by Ford. Ford paid for this, if I remember correctly. Well, Jamie's told me a few things as well. That Ford finances for Max Power back in the day to try and get the Mark 6 Marquee a bit more popular. So, from what I remember, it had works engine, works running gear, works this, works that. It didn't have a works box, but it had a lot of works parts. So I'm looking at it now, and I'm not sure what's happened over the years, whether a lot of things have been raped, taken off it, disappeared and been changed. From underneath, we've got a standard rear beam, RS2000 rear beam. I want to say standard, it's uprated, it's been stitch welded, but there's no roll bar. First of all, there's a roll bar missing off it. Yeah, so it's a standard rear beam, and it's got these plates welded in, which is fair enough, but you still need a roll bar. It's had these welded on at some point for a roll bar, but the roll bar's missing. So the rear end, I'm guessing that's not what came with it from factory. I'm guessing that's not, well, it's not factory, the GSE Ford built. That's the standard rear beam with a few stitch welds on it. Standard fuel tank. Exhaust isn't the Max Power exhaust. As you can see, it's not the best, it's fell off. Max Power used to have a centre exit trim pipe coming through a bumper here, and basically it was really low, and I assumed that was just how they wanted it to look, because I assumed they got rid of this wheel well, and they haven't. So we want a centre exit again, but it needs to come up here, so we're going to have to get rid of that wheel well, and we'll put a nice panel in there, because basically there's a spare wheel in there. It's a 15-inch, and you're not going to have a spare wheel in a car like this, in this modern age anyway. So, but when you're looking underneath it, the sills look solid, man. The car itself, quick look over it. It's a nice solid shell, initially looking. But again, coming to the front, it's got standard bottom arms, standard subframe, standard gear linkage, which I assumed it had the WRC front end, the boxed out front subframe, but it hasn't. I think it had a TLE exhaust manifold as well on at some point, well, when it was first introduced, but it hasn't now. Looking at this, it's got a random manifold, and I don't know who thinks that you can crimp a mould steel pipe with a Jubilee clip, but you can't. A Jubilee clip on there is it's like pissing in the wind, isn't it? I don't know why that's on there, but we've got Vibrotechnics engine mounts around it, so it's got the right engine mounts in, standard radiator, a poorly looking exhaust cooler, some random colour piping. It's still got the wing sump on it, which is one thing. So it should have baffled and gates in there, and the pickup pipe should be, it's a diverted pickup pipe, so it's in a different location, but that should be the 909 sump. Got a big brake kit, iSpecs, 6-pot. That wasn't the Max Power brakes, but they're good brakes. Obviously years out, you don't expect it to be on the same brakes, do you know what I mean? But from underneath, it's not what it used to be. It's not what I expect to see from underneath. So we'll go and have a look in the engine bay now, and then we'll have a look inside the car. But one thing that is important, and the most important thing, is solid. You know, it's a solid shell. There's no rot on the bottom. The seals are solid. Side skirts have seen better days. Got a lot of cracks and splits in the side skirts, but nothing that's not fixable. I mean, it's all fixable. But again, solid chassis, man. It's a solid car, which is rare these days. Let's have a look up top. Well, ramp's lowered. Let's have a look inside. Well, hasn't got original seats, hasn't got original door cards. Well, hasn't got a trim anyway. It had the Citroen yellow Mondeo trim in it, didn't it? Flock dash. Yeah, Jamie's got a beautiful steering wheel to go in there. I'll show you that in a bit. It's absolutely perfect for this car. Jamie's going to get new bucket seats and seats retrimmed. I'm not going to give away what she's got planned, but Jamie's got loads of things planned for this car. But when you see the steering wheel, you'll know why she's brought that steering wheel. No carpets. It's been used as a track car, so it'd be nice to get some carpets back in there. Yeah, well, that's inside the cockpit anyway. When you come to the back, there used to be a subwoofer set up in here. If anybody's got any pictures of the back of this car from Max Power days, when Jordan was hanging out the back of it and things, can you send them to me or send them to Jamie? Because I suspect that bar and that bar have been added for some random reason, because the welds on these bars are bad, are pigeon shit bad, and they're not adding any rigidity to the shell at all. And because if you look at that bar there, like 20% of the bar is welded on and the rest is folded over. It's weird, man. I don't know why they either need removing or putting in correctly, because it's strange, man. It's strange. I don't know, unless they were I can't see. I don't know who put this cage in, man, because like triangle points don't meet. This one is 2 inches off there. This one is there. I'm guessing it's the original cage, but I don't understand why things aren't correct with it, like, you know. It's been migged in. Again, things are fixable. They're not right. I just don't understand why, if that was a GSE cage, why aren't the triangle points been matched, you know? Because that's where your impact goes, you know. Again, strange. But what's nice to see, look at that bad boy. Look at that bad boy. It's the original. It's not very heavy, so, and it looks like it's got a bit of a weave in there. So that might be carbon. I'm not sure. It's got a weave pattern in there, and fiberglass doesn't have a weave pattern like that. So it's nice and light. So that's the original Max Power WRC rear spoiler. It's the bollocks, and it's the dogs, but how nice is that? You just want, and it's well built, man. It's not heavy at all. And I remember having fiberglass ones on boots, and you couldn't keep the boot open, you know, so I'm guessing that's carbon painted up, man, because you can see the weave in there, man. You don't see a weave like that in fiberglass as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, how nice is that? Bumper's being changed. Jamie's got perfect Zender bumper, I think it's called, so we're going to modify that, put that on. Wheels are being changed, lights are being changed. Yeah, Jamie's kindly given me them lights for my black car. I'm going to put red lights back into this, red, orange tail lights, things like that, indicators. So let's have a look in the engine bay. Right, here we are at the engine bay. We need a gear grill. We need to replace this because we need a gear grill, paint it pink like it was in Max Power. Nice Morettes, these are standard. Somebody said to Jamie that they're modified, they're not, they're standard. It's just that the Cosy wing sits higher, so there's always a gap on an F2. But coming to the engine bay, I'm gonna say I'm really, what's the word? What's the correct words, man? Shocked, disappointed, upset for Jamie a bit, because Jamie's purchased a car that's, well, it's not what it was. Do you know what I mean? I know that Monkey London lad's no mechanic. I don't know who he sent it to, but this engine bay isn't right at first glance. I've got to delve deeper, but there's a million things screaming out at me wrong, like, you know. First of all, you come down here, like, look in there, and the crank's not breathing. The crankcase pressure is not bolts. There's a bolt in there. Random, there's a bolt in there. And then we come up to the slide bodies, and then we've got a standard Ford RS2000 injector row, injector loom, sorry. What's that doing there? Why have we got standard loom sitting on top like this? I'm telling you, there's no way Ford, Max Power, anyone would have given the car away like this. Other big concerning bits is we've got like EDIS module, questionable looms. Do you know what I mean? Like really questionable looms. Why is that? Why have we got a standard loom in there? Why is there a standard loom in the car? Because standalone management doesn't use a Ford loom. You know, it just doesn't. We've got the sliding throttle bodies, and we've got a rocker cover that says Mount Tune, but again, as far as I'm aware of, that engine was blown to pieces, so it's no longer going to be a Mount Tune engine, is it? Yeah, I'm going to dig a bit deeper, because it's this. Let me get me pliers out and start pulling things apart. One sec. Well, I've opened her up, and we've got a Ford ECU, code 4. If I remember correctly, these were race ECU used in the F2s. They are mappable, but it's very old tech, and it's on a standard Ford loom, which is I didn't expect, because in the adverts for Monkey London's prize giveaway, it said that it'd been modernised. It had an Omex 600. So Omex 600, you'd have a standalone ECU in the car, you'd have a standalone loom, you'd have really pretty engine bay, pretty loom. So that's concerning, because it hasn't got what it says it's supposed to have. It's got really old tech. Yes, it's mappable, but to within certain tolerances, you can't. It's restricted. It's a really old ECU. It's a really old loom. It's bad. It's falling apart, and that's not the worst. Like, look at that. Literally, what the fuck is that? Do you know what I mean? I've never seen. That's like 3 rolls of fucking insulation tape wrapped round a light loom, an engine bay loom. Just what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? It's not as advertised, is it? Do you know what I mean? I know that Monkey London geezer's no mechanic. But I don't think you need to be to shit like this, like cable tie heaven. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, the loom's a bit. Why is it me who always get pig shit looms? Do you know what I mean? I always get the bad looms. It's got a fire extinguisher system. It's not plumbed in very well. That is pointing where? You're not going to have a header tank set on fire. You know what I mean? You want these pointing in the direction of fire suppression system should go. This one is pointing down into the battery tray. Yeah, I've had batteries arc out before and that, do you know what I mean? But this is bolted in. Badly, but it's bolted in. Yeah, I'm trying to find the good at the moment, underneath all the shit. Like, fucking, look at this, finger type, like, fucking, finger type breather system, you know, single breather pot, which is fucking loose. What's it breathing to? What have we got? Like, that's how old that management is, you know. We've got really old hat stuff, like, which is not going to give you the power from an engine. That I watched the video yesterday of this being pulled apart. It had standard rods, which do the Mountune did build them with standard rods, but there was shot and peen rods on forged pistons. So it was there. Could have been rebuilt, but I don't know because the head was obliterated. I'll skip through the video, I'm going to be honest with you. It was some geezer, mad, Ford or something like that. But I don't know who's been in this engine bay, because they shouldn't be allowed near an RS2000 ever, let alone a car. You know what I mean? It just shouldn't be allowed. So I'm going to keep pulling it apart. You know, I'm going to get my camera first. I'm going to drop out a coil pack, a spark plug, put my camera in the engine, see what pistons we've got, if any. You know, we'll see. Sorry if this video is going on. You know what I mean? I might have to break it up into a few parts because I'm digging and I'm digging. I'm just finding a bit of a mess. Bear with me. Well, more inspecting. This is my basically what you keyhole surgery camera. We'll try and see what we can get to show up on the phone. But I'm having a look at these pistons, if you can see there. There you can. Oh, just see that. You can just see. Try and turn it. But that piston, there's just a slight valve cut out there, very slight. But whatever spec that piston is, it's got a flat deck height, flat. So it's not going to be a high power NA. Why would you go to the expense of having a forged piston for a high power NA without lifting the compression? I suspect that piston might be a standard piston with valve cutouts. I suspect it's not. That is not a Mountune piston, 100%, because there's no intruder. Basically, you got your 4 valves here and a squish area in the cylinder head, and the piston then takes up the squish area with an intruder, a lift pot, like a step. Imagine a curb on your piston. It takes up that area. These haven't got it. I've never seen a Mountune piston to this day without an intruder. It's how you get your high compression, your 13.1 compression, your 12 plus. Yeah, if this was bouncing off 9K, not with that piston. I know that it blew the pistons out, so and the rods, but you'd get the piston replaced with the same spec piston, wouldn't you? And that's not it. That's a questionable piston. So next thing I'm tempted to do is get the cam cover off and see if it's got the Mountune cams, see if it's got the vernier pulleys, see if it's got the Mountune head, basically, because on a Mountune head you should have larger lifters, basically, with shims, So and the shims are basically to create a solid lifter, and you get your tolerances between the cam then. Oh, should we dig deeper? Should we dig deeper? This video is dragging out, I know, but this is the part of going backwards before you go forwards, like, to see what we've got. And what we've got at the minute isn't as advertised, you know. It's not as advertised. So, let's see. Right, we're having a look in the top. There's good and there's bad. The good news is, still got the vernier sprockets, and it's got eye lift cams to a degree. They're not overly big, but they're longer duration cam, definitely. But the cylinder head is not the Mountune cylinder head. It's got standard size buckets, hydraulic lifters. I'm hoping they're solid, you know, because these cams are designed to work with solid lifter. But that's not the Mountune head, because the Mountune head basically has bigger buckets with a big fat shim. Also, whoever's put this engine together has not timed it up. They've timed it up to a standard engine. That's what's telling me the internals are standard, because this timing is standard, and obviously if you start adjusting the timing more than a couple of degree on a standard piston, you're gonna get contact with the valve, and this is not timed up. It's standard timing. The cams aren't dialed in. So again, we've got standard cylinder head, got oil lift cams, vernier sprockets, standard timing. Yeah, for me, I'd want to drop this out, strip the engine, and go from there, because that is not a high power 2 litre NA. That to me is got nice bits. You can see it's probably, the sprockets have probably been the original sprockets. The cams, I'm guessing, might be the original cams, because they were quite mild cams back in the day. Don't forget, in the 90s, the Mountune engines, they were built to certain spec restrictions in rallying. Like the slide bodies, they're not the best anymore. People think, oh, they're great because they're open and it's full tilt. No, they're not the best, because they were built to a regulation. You know, you're only allowed, that's why you've got trumpets that are fucking 2 foot long, because you're trying to gain torque. Whereas you move the injector point away from the head, you'll gain better atmosphere from the fueling. This is really old tech, which is good tech, because Jamie doesn't want a race car, but Jamie wants what she paid for, and this isn't what Jamie paid for, you know. So I'm probably going to upset someone, probably going to upset people along the way, but I'm saying it as it is, and I'm showing you on video, I've shown you on camera, I've shown you the piston, now I've shown you the head, the buckets, the cams. I'm showing you there's nothing to hide here, you know. So if people get upset, so be it. Jamie's not going to get upset. Jamie wants me to tell her what she's got. Do you know what I mean? But what I do know is, as much as this isn't what it's advertised as, over the years, do you know what I mean? I'm not putting it down to anybody specific. People aren't mechanics, they get misled, do you know what I mean? But what I will tell you is that Jamie loves this motor. Jamie's a Ford enthusiast. She's got motors after motors after motors. Look at the motors she's got, man, do you know what I mean? But she says this is to keep, which I believe her, man. So, because this is a keeper, this is going to be done properly. Do you know what I mean? Properly. This will be made into the car it deserves to be. So, I'm going to speak to Jamie. I haven't even spoke to Jamie yet. This is Saturday, the car got delivered Friday, do you know what I mean? So, going to go and speak to Jamie. Don't want to upset me, pal, but it's one of them. I'll let you know how we get on. Still here. I can't remember where I got up to at the end of the last video earlier. It's been a couple of hours since, because I spoke to my mate Jamie on the phone again. God, we can speak about this car for hours, but we've decided, we've got a plan and a route to go down with this motor now. Again, it's Jamie's forever car, so she loves it. So it's not going to be an overnight thing. There's no quick fix for this, you know. There is a lot of work that needs to be done. A lot of things need to be changed. And people who follow me and know me know I don't do things in 5 minutes. I mean, take me time, do things as and when, but it's got to be done properly. Do you know what I mean? So we're going for the full strip down. Engine's coming out, wiring's coming out, bodywork's going back, because there's a rot around the bonnet, rot around the vent. So we're going for new bonnet, new vent. Well, there's loads of things going to be done to it. Things that are being kept, obviously. It's going to be as it was from Max Power, but with Jamie's tweaks, making it Jamie's car, because it's not going nowhere. It's Jamie's forever, you know. Going to get rid of things like Perspex windows, changing the wheels and tyres, changing the bumper. There's a rear bumper to go on. There's loads of things, absolutely loads. So going to go backwards again before we go forwards with this motor. So I think the next video you'll see of this is being pulled apart. Yeah. And again, like I said, I don't know what I said earlier in regards to, well, I do know. I went into detail about what's not right and what's not as advertised, you know. And talking to Jamie, he's probably going to get some people upset. It is what it is, man. It's on video, you know. I'm showing you what's here. I'm not hiding nothing, you know. There's massive problems going on with this car. I put a camera in, and when it's stripped, I'll show you. I showed you the cams, showed you the sprockets, showed you the ECU. I showed you what the car is not and what the car was meant to be. How it's got this way, I don't know. Is it got this way from previous owner? Owners for him, owners for him. You know what I mean? Things have got taken off and abused in its lifetime. Well, yeah, it's not the car it once was, but I can guarantee it will be better than the car it started out as. So the Max Power car, the level of build it came to then, it'll be a next level now. It'll be even better now. When it's finished, when Jamie's done what she wants to do with it, man, it'll be even better. But yeah, bear with us and keep you updated on it. Cheers.